What's up, all you New York Comic Con loving dudes and dudettes? ToyShiz here, and I got a really rockin' fresh look for you guys, courtesy of NECA Toys. NECA was nice enough, they sent over their brand new upcoming for this weekend, October 3rd through the 6th. We're going to have the New York Comic Con at the Javits Center in New York City, and NECA will be having two more of their exclusive DC versus Dark Horse comics, the old superheroes, and then you got Alien and Predator, Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, both Green Lanterns, as we'll take a look at in just a second. But these sets originally started at San Diego Comic-Con. They had the Batman, and then also a Predator, and then they had a Superman and an Alien, which we have taken a look at. But these are fantastic. These are something that were announced so long ago, and now finally having them in hand, it's almost surreal. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, all this time, it's one of those figures you've been looking forward to. They went through some loopholes to kind of release these, and lo and behold, the outcome was that they could put them only in a convention setting. So San Diego Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, they aced it. Thank you to NECA again for sending these over because I cannot wait to show them off. We're going to do things a little bit differently here. I'm going to kind of just have fun. We're going to play with these figures. We're going to show the articulation and all the different accessories, the head sculpts. So sit back, relax. Let's check them out. This is the NECA Toys 2019 New York Comic-Con exclusive Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, and John Stewart with the Yautja Yellow Lantern. So in kicking it off with Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, the head sculpt on this is probably one of the finest looking Green Lantern figures I've ever seen. And much like the Superman figure that they did with the prior set and also the Batman, NECA just knocks it out of the park continuously. Now, this was at a time when Hal no longer had those wingtips anymore, so that actually works. My ideal Hal Jordan always has the white wingtips, so that's just funny to me to see, you know, without it now. But yeah, that's one aspect I always do miss about Hal Jordan. But yeah, the face sculpt, just the expression on his face, you know, he looks like he's going to be dealing with some predators, some aliens, something like that. The paint is actually quite perfect on this figure, from all the definition of the muscles on the back to the line work of the green suit. Everything is painted beautifully, even on the white. Now, the white seems to always be a tricky thing, especially for action figures, but there might be a couple. No, I mean, honestly, in this sense, it's really quite well done for some white gloves. Typically, you don't see that. The green boots, those look good as well. They're all sculpted. Nothing is painted on except for, let's say, the line work for the suit right here. He has a nice chest emblem. That's really well placed. It's painted well. There's no hiccups, nothing like that. A little tidbit about the mask is that he actually does have some black around the white part of the eyes just to emphasize it a little bit more. So I like that attention to detail. And honestly, I think the only part that maybe is a little bit mispainted would be on the ring, where on the sides it's still white from his gloves, but inside it looks to have maybe a darker green to a lighter colored green within the ring. So again, just some nice intricacies to the paint. In terms of the articulation, the head is going to pop off really nicely because you're going to be able to interswap it with a John Stewart, but you do get some nice rotation, nice sense of movement out of it, so he can go either which way. I would say the only bummer is that, much like the Superman, you can't get his head to go all the way back to really do that Green Lantern flight pose. But the best part is that he can kind of go back with the ab crunch, and you get him just a little bit more in that looking up position, so it does save it in that sense. His ab crunch goes down about that much. He does have a waist swivel, which works really well. Great articulation in the shoulders. They go up, down, left, right. You can hear the movement, so it's all very stiff joints. There's nothing really loose, but it is working with you in typical fashion, where sometimes NECA toys can be a little bit hard to kind of move around right out of the box, but he's got some articulation in the biceps as well, double jointed elbows, which work, and then they work with the ring, you know, with the hands going out back and forth, rotation. You're going to get some nice poses with that to kind of look and use the other constructs that you get with this figure, which I'll show you in just a second. Same thing on this side as well. You get some nice rubber parts right here for his costume, which allows for some good leg articulation. It moves with the costume, doesn't really hinder it. It just kind of folds a little bit, but that's not too big a deal. You can get it all the way back, around, and he does have some double jointed knees, which are pretty good. A little bit stiff on this side. Let's see about this side. Yeah, this works just a little bit better. He's got some boot cuff rotation right there. That works. And then, of course, some pivot at the ankles, up, down, left, right, and then some toe articulation, which I love. I love when you got some action figures with some toe articulation. Nothing at the thigh. There's no cuts or anything, but overall, I think you got some nice articulation with this Green Lantern figure. So when looking at the accessories, one of them that you get an alternate head sculpt for the Green Lantern, John Stewart. I have always liked Hal Jordan, but ever since Justice League Unlimited and growing up with that show and watching that, John Stewart has pretty much become my new favorite Green Lantern. I also liked Guy Gardner, but John Stewart just has this really cool like suaveness to him. You know, I wouldn't mind seeing a movie next time they get around to seeing Green Lantern. I think that would be kind of cool to do a John Stewart version. Hal Jordan had his chance, Ryan Reynolds, but that's actually a really nice looking head sculpt, and all you do is you just kind of wiggle Hal's head off and go ahead and pop John Stewart's head on there, and that looks and fits great. Now, some people have been told me, I might have to get 2 different sets of these just to have 2 different Green Lanterns, but hey, you know what? That looks pretty awesome. I like that a lot. I think he looks good. He's got some great eye color to him. Nice shades all around, even on the back of the head with his kind of like, I'd say more the shaven part of his head in the back, but it looks really nice and it came out great. So I'm very excited just to even have, like, they gave us both options in this sense. Now, with the hand constructs, you're going to want to go ahead, and one thing I did notice is that some of the white paint is starting to come off. That's going to be on the actual peg, so I wouldn't freak out. It's the peg that goes in the actual forearm, but just be careful. You don't want to yank too hard and end up pulling off some paint maybe around the sides. But what you can do is that you get 2 different hand sculpts for this side, and this is the side with the ring, of course. You can go ahead and fit that in there. Now, if you'll notice, he's got the part where the ring would be, but now there's a hole. Go ahead and stick some constructs in there. Maybe this one in the terms of it's like a bright Green Lantern burst, so that doesn't look too shabby. I like that, but it's just FYI, just be very, very careful with these. A lot of these things can be very brittle, just like that. Don't do that, but yeah, just be extra careful with these. You don't want anything breaking off. This as well, this is like a little burst for a Green Lantern ring, and that can look cool, like he's shining the light or something like that, or, doing the Terminator thing where you kind of walk up and push it through somebody's face. I don't know. And then you also have this really long burst, much like the Superman eyes. That'll fit into there. And then you got a Green Lantern little burst of energy shooting out of the ring, which I very much like that. I think that looks pretty great. Little burst of energy. Can't go wrong with that. Maybe along the lines, if they ever did more sets, you got more constructs and such, but hey, you know what? I'll take what I can get. This side is just a standard hand for holding, to which you can then hold this lantern, which the figure comes with. And for the most part, it's pretty good. I kind of wish that I'm going to have to heat this up. My handle tends to fall down, but paint, it looks pretty good. You got the white inside the lantern, a little bit of different green going on. The handle is painted. A little bit of a, maybe like a white fleck of paint in there. But overall, a nicely sculpted lantern, and it's going to go really well with this Green Lantern figure. So by now you're probably saying, all right, ToyShiz, we know it, we get it. You like the Green Lanterns. Show off the Sinestro Corps Yellow Lantern Yautja. And as you can see, this figure does not disappoint. From the mask itself, all the details, you got the intricacies of the costume it's wearing, their little tubes and hoses all over, just every little nook and cranny's got paint or black wash. It's got the minute details of the mesh that we typically see with a Predator figure, but he just has that Yellow Lantern aesthetics. Of course there'd be a Yautja Yellow Lantern, right? And I love that right here. He's got his Yellow Lantern ring. You can't beat that. That's I love that a lot. The little belt has little silver details all over it, yellow overall, but it just emphasizes with the black wash that they got going on, little silver paint jobs every which way, little rubber pieces for the armor, makes it a little bit more accessible, especially in terms of using articulation and such. He's got little parts down here. I really like these right here down to his toes. So he's more of a overall black Predator, which is interesting to see, and it really pops out the yellow. So in that sense, NECA's done a great job of really utilizing that for this particular, like a predator species. And on the backside, you get some really cool, you got so this is interesting. All of these parts that typically we'd see as armor for the predator figures, these are now all yellow constructs, which he has made. And I like that aspect. You know, of course, he would have his shoulder cannon and everything else, but the details on it, it's all clad in a yellow see-through clear plastic, but he's got a sheath for his sword, which I'll show you in just a second, but all kinds of little parts, wires, everything is so cool. His little gun that typically will pop out, that's a yellow construct, you know, that's really awesome. It's got some rotation and articulation on it. I tried to kind of just very lightly see if this comes off. It seems to be connected with this rubber chest piece that slips over the figure. If you want to try and take it off, go for it. But I think it's great where it is, and it's sturdy, it's steady, it's not going anywhere, as is this part right here. It's interconnected to his belt. I like this part of a bone or just an exoskeleton on the side, maybe a trophy he's taken. Just the dreadlock hair down to the mask. From the bottom of the feet to the top of the head, this thing is loaded with paint. And I like all the little, just the parts where it looks like he's gotten nicked or hit or something like that. Little cracks in the helmet, little mishaps, misfortunes. He's got some wire mesh eyes going on. In terms of the articulation, he's got a ball-jointed head. For the most part, it works really well. You got some articulation in the actual shoulders. He's going to move out. These actually will work with it. There's a little bit of a more soft rubber right there. He's got some bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, which works. He's got some rotation at the forearm, at the wrists, which will go either which way, up and down, left and right. He does have a bit of an ab crunch. Yeah, not too much, but he does rotate up there, and this actually doesn't hinder too much with this back part. He also has a waist swivel right there. He will kick out about that much. He'll kick back about that much. He'll rotate at the ball joint towards the groin area, and then he also has double jointed knees, nothing at the calves or the boots, but he does have some ankle pivot. No toe pivot like the Green Lanterns, but you're going to get some nice mobility out of this guy, and that's always great to see, especially with the Yellow Lantern figure. Like he's doing the Mr. Burns like. But let's look at the accessories. First and foremost, he comes with an extra head portrait, and I absolutely love the yellow eyes on this. This is exactly what you'd expect from a Yellow Lantern. Excellent dreadlock hair, really nicely painted, and overall, I can't decide if it looks better with the mask on or off. He also comes with some yellow constructs. You get a sword, which is a see-through plastic, a little bit more flexible. I wouldn't say this one has any chance of breaking, but just be extra careful. And the nice thing about it is that it slips right into the sheath on his back. He also comes with this large staff. This one, flexible as well, but I can see more towards this kind of snapping right here. And then also he comes with this typical yellow construct, let's say the blade that he throws. This one, probably the most brittle of all, so just be extra super careful with this thing. But in either case, this guy is loaded, and it makes for a really heavily armored Yautja. So that's going to do it for my fresh look for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, thank you to NECA Toys for sending this set over. We're going to be taking a look at the Batman Joker Alien set tomorrow as well, so stay tuned for that. I can't say enough nice things about this set. If you are interested in DC Comics or the Predator Alien franchise, then this is definitely right up your alley, and you can grab one this coming weekend in New York at the New York Comic Con. It'll run you $60 at the NECA booth, so definitely go and check them out if you are interested. But I'm curious to know what you guys think of this set. Comment below, let me know. Let's talk everything NECA Toys. I really appreciate you guys watching. As always, drink some great coffee, eat some great food, but most importantly, remember, I wonder how things would have gone had Arnold Schwarzenegger gone up against a Yellow Lantern Yautja. Just wondering. That would have been a different Predator movie. And when you do, let me know what you found. I'll talk to you guys soon. Adios.